In this Black Myth Wukong Impressions video, we're breaking down all the details from the final trailer of Black Myth Wukong, an upcoming third-person action RPG set to be released on the 20th of August, which is just over a week away. The game has a combat system similar to Souls, but with its own unique twists. Its lore heavily draws inspiration from the novel Journey to the West and has elements of Chinese mythology. The final trailer showcased different biomes and inhabitants, new transformations of Wukong, and several bosses, which we'll be discussing in this video. The trailer starts off by showing the first location. It's a shrine built on a cliffside, panning out to a desert area surrounded by numerous mountains. The second location is a lush forest area with an inhabitant sitting by the cliff overlooking it. It's not implied whether it's a friendly inhabitant or a hostile one, but it definitely seems to fit the theme of a forest inhabitant. The third area seems to be a shrine dedicated to deities and historical figures in Black Myth Wukong's world, while the fourth area seems to be a Buddhist temple carved on a mountaintop. The fifth area shown is a temple-like structure located in a mountainous region, and these locations show the mountainous geography of the East and Central Asia, staying faithful to the setting of its source material. The final trailer introduces different kinds of biomes and locations where Black Myth Wukong's story will unfold. These areas are visually stunning, especially the locations having inhabitants that very much fit the theme of the environment. The atmosphere of the game will definitely boost the player's immersion as they play Black Myth. The final trailer then shows us a closer look at the various transformations of Wukong. The first transformation shown is a wolf-like form with a flaming staff, reminiscent of the Wolf Captain boss shown in the gameplay trailer from 4 years ago. It also shows us some of the attacks of the transformation, such as a spinning staff strike, a jumping lunge attack, and a dash attack. The second form shown is a slow-moving form carrying a heavy sack of skulls. In this form, it seems to be that the movement speed is at its lowest. However, this form has been shown in previous trailers with a defensive property, as it seems to deflect plenty of incoming arrows from archers. It is also shown in this trailer that this has an option for attacking, as a shattering animation is shown as the form lands from a jump, although it has a pretty small AoE. For the third form, Wukong seems to have slug-like features while still maintaining a humanish form. It has tentacle-like features on its hands being utilized as backhand blades, likely having toxins imbued on it. The trailer also shows a glimpse into one of the form's abilities, a toxin blast that damages nearby enemies, which also staggers Wukong for a short duration. In the fourth form, Wukong is shown to have long tentacles that he uses not only for attacking in a wide radius, but also for maneuvering quickly to dodge enemies' attacks. It shows a preview of Wukong's attack using his tentacles to forcefully slam himself into the ground, creating a small earth shattering. The trailer also shows Wukong being in a wintry shore area fighting against ore-wielding enemies that shatter when defeated. As for the fifth form shown in the trailer, Wukong shapeshifts into a creature wielding a sword backwards fighting a giant spider boss in its web-filled lair. It also showcases the form's power of using the element of fire for its attacks, a fire breath, and a fire blast. It is also agile in its movement, mimicking the movement of the boss shown in a previous gameplay trailer. The trailer then shows us a wide shot of a temple in the middle of a frozen lake and Wukong meditating by the dock. This area seems to be the arena of a boss fight from a gameplay preview of the game. It is a vast area with mountains in the background, which really is visually stunning. It then pans to the frozen lake showing a glowing orange light beneath it. Could this be the thunder dragon that Wukong is going to fight, or is it another creature living in the lake? We then see a fox-like creature fanning a bonfire, a mysterious masked person, and an old man carrying a big gourd behind his back. This is only speculation, but this seems to be Wukong's companions in Journey to the West. These three could be Tang Sanzeng and his two disciples. In the novel, Wukong is a disciple of Tang Sanzeng along with the other two, and they are on a journey to retrieve Buddhist scriptures. This story would probably be part of the game, as the developers stated that it is inspired by the novel. After the speculated companions were shown, there's a quick scene of Wukong going through a portal on a wall to a forest biome. This could be a fast travel mechanic, as the world of Black Myth Wukong is looking like a massive world. The animation and visuals of this look pretty neat, as with everything that's been shown to us so far. We then see several NPCs in the game, and some of these are most likely to be bosses that we'll encounter. The first one, a woman dressed in traditional clothing, is seen to be inside the spider lair that we saw earlier in the trailer. If my speculations are correct, the woman is the spider demoness in human form. Then a horned creature with 3 eyes is shown briefly. We then see various NPCs in a fleeting manner, a vermin-like creature, a monk monkey, a human with pointed ears, a long-necked dragon with human characteristics, and a bipedal tiger. It also shows a different armor outfit of Wukong bowing down towards a statue of Buddha, panning to a Buddhist toddler eating watermelons. A frenzied monk is briefly shown along with a large-headed Buddhist monk with gray-bluish skin being absorbed by a small gourd owned by Wukong. This could be the purple-gold-red gourd in the novel, which is owned by the Golden Horned King and Silver Horned King. It is said to be a powerful gourd that sucks anyone that speaks before it, melting them into a stew. This could be a preview of how Wukong obtains the different forms of his fallen enemies, allowing him to shapeshift and mimic the physical traits and abilities of his foes. We then see a glimpse of a flow of combat mechanics in Black Myth Wukong, although we've seen this in many other trailers. It shows Wukong fighting a long-necked bipedal tiger, attacking with a flurry of attacks that we got to see in the demo at Gamescom last year. Then Wukong transforms mid-combat fluidly into the large-headed monk we saw earlier being absorbed by the gourd. Wukong then uses his staff to shoot out rapid fireballs against a worm-like boss with a golden Buddhist head. It then shows Wukong dodge rolling to the side with a fluid animation against a boss that looks to be where Wukong gets the Ursine form from. Then the trailer showcases a mechanic wherein Wukong dodges a lunging attack by changing into his astral form and looks to be one of the unique combat mechanics of Black Myth Wukong. Wukong can also parry enemy attacks with flashy animations similar to the longsword parries in Monster Hunter. The trailer shows various animations of the parry depending on the weapon that Wukong is using. Aside from Wukong's transformations into different bosses he's defeated, it shows Wukong shape-shifting to a tree to hide from a giant Buddhist statue-like creature walking around in a winter location of the game. This could be a mechanic to avoid some unnecessary conflict or hard fights, as Wukong could mimic different inanimate objects in his surroundings to not be noticed by enemies. This is one of Wukong's well-known abilities, staying true to the game's source material. We then see several creatures of the game without showing too much information. The first creature is either a fox or wolf sprinting on a snowy landscape. The second is a humongous turtle with trees growing on its shell, to be looking up into the skies while glowing light falls off of it. This seems to be the world turtle in Chinese mythology. Then a harpy-like creature wielding two imbued swords is seen carrying Wukong away. Next, a giant flying demon mask similar to the appearance of a traditional Oni in Japanese folklore is seen to be attempting to attack Wukong. There is also a boss that looks to be an ogre residing beneath a sandy biome. A giant insect creature with flaming antennae is also shown, along with its power to utilize fire for its attacks, and a gourd from earlier absorbing it and receiving the fire characteristics of the enemy. The boss that looks like a slug, where the slug form was obtained from, was also shown to emit a toxin blast into the air. There's also a bat-like creature that seems to shout to send out waves as a form of attack, which is similar to how bats navigate around places. Another enemy shown is a dual-wielding warrior wearing a demon mask, similar to the flying mask shown earlier, although with a more intimidating style. You will also encounter a giant boss with hands similar to a human, which seems like you'll be fighting in a tight cavern. There is also a staff-wielding boss that might have an attack that when it hits Wukong will force him to go into his astral form. There are plenty of bosses shown in the trailer, even having gigantic bosses such as giant golems and a beetle-like creature, which might have a different mechanic of fighting compared to bosses that are relatively smaller in size. The trailer suggests that Black Myth Wukong might be heavy on boss fights, which is my take as well from what I've seen earlier, with each boss having unique mechanics which will keep the gameplay fresh and engaging. Boss fights are your thing. It then shows a preview of several characters in quick succession: an ape-like creature by the desert, a fallen giant ant by the roots of a tree, a giant golem, a giant beetle-like creature living in the desert, a horned creature sprinting in the forest, a wheel-like creature, and an ape-like stone golem with a human face. Additionally, 4 powerful entities are then shown, each wielding a different weapon and having control of the weather. These entities are the 4 Heavenly Kings, deities that watch over each of the cardinal directions. The Heavenly King of the East wields a pipa, a Chinese traditional musical instrument. The Heavenly King of the South wields a sword, the Heavenly King of the West holds a snake, and the Heavenly King of the North wields an umbrella. In the final sequence of the trailer, Tang Sanzeng and Wukong are seen conversing inside a protective ward that Wukong has created from an incoming demon attack, which is said to keep Tang Sanzeng safe as long as he stays inside it. This sequence gives us a glimpse of what is to happen in Black Myth Wukong and how it stays faithful to the journey of the West novel. The final trailer for Black Myth Wukong before its launch in 10 days gives us an idea of the immersive nature and atmosphere that the game has to offer. From the diverse and visually stunning biomes to its unique enemies and different interesting forms of Wukong and the iconic characters of the novel, the trailer showcases its deep connection to the journey of the West novel and Chinese mythology, while adding its own unique flavor to it. The combat mechanics, which seems to be a fast-paced spin-off on the Souls games, suggest that the game will give its players a challenging experience to say the least. This is definitely a game we've been keeping our eye out for a very long time, and if you're a fan of Souls-likes, Chinese mythology, and action combat, definitely going to want to check this one out, I think. Stay tuned because we will have more Black Myth Wukong coverage as the game draws near on the 20th of August, including our review, a Getting Started guide, probably some boss guides, and potentially even build guides.